Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to WOR World Online Racing. You join us here tonight for Season 12, Round number 10, as we take to the lovely Albert Park Circuit in sunny Australia. I'm your host, as per last week's CRL Freefall, but you can just call me Scott. And I'm joined by your regular voice in the comms for this division. It is, of course, the one, the only, Logan. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
You owe me a lot for pinching my job while I was away. Yeah, honestly, no, guys. I honestly think Freefall's got the better comms right now, so he's going to be the lead commentator for the rest of the season. I'm still here as the co-commentator, but you won't be hearing much of me, I'm guessing, because well, we've only got 13 drivers tonight, actually, but I should go through the standings. Jensen, no surprise, on 163, only scored 1 point last week, of course. I didn't see that, though, so I'm just going to pretend he still has a 4-race running streak. And Dirkbus on 92, so it's pretty much a one-horse race in this championship. Tom on 66, but I do believe he is not here tonight, as per last week. Bolin is also not here last week. I cannot see him. He's on 66 and 61 respectively, Tom and Bolin, I should mention. And Jacopo on 59. There's a bit of a battle going on for third place between Tom, Bolin, Jacopo, Jabrakat, Santeri, and actually no, Santeri has left the league, I should mention. I completely forgot he left after running. But yes, the Constructors' Championship is also a walkover because Aston Martin are on 229, 115 for AlphaTauri and 104 for Haas. As we see a lot of the drivers going out and the clouds are pulling over the track. Is it going to be some rain here, Freefall?
It's definitely looking potential here. A lot of cars just streaming out onto the track here. Sort of reminds you thinking there's not a lot of time left on this clock here to get a lap in. First car out on the track by the looks of it is Noah Jones, of course, making his debut tonight as a reserve in that Williams. He'll be the first to get a chance to set a lap time. Could be a very crucial lap time though, if what you're saying is true. These clouds looking very ominous over what is typically sunny Australia. But we all know it loves a little bit of rain every now and again. And I think, don't quote me on it, we could be seeing some here tonight. Of course, two Scotsmen in the booth. We should be pretty apt for a little bit of rain tonight. Are you expecting it, or are you holding out for the dry here, Logan?
I wouldn't want to jinx anything. Yeah, they're all coming out. I think it's going to be raining. It is a very telltale sign as we see the first driver, Noah Jones, coming across the line to start a lap. This is Albert Park, hosted races in F1 for over 25 years. Coming through the first corner, quick right-hander, then a left-hander, then going right the way down to turn number 3, which is super duper tight, probably the tightest corner on the track, as he swerves into the right-hander turn 3, and then through the car park of turn number 4, before making his way his quick right, turn number 5, just barging through, and now onto turn number 6, which has been changed in the new layout. This is, of course, a old layout. Of course, if you saw the last Grand Prix in real life, then this corner does not exist. Turn number 9, Clark Corner, is now just flat out. Turn 10 as well, but it still remains here in the game, unfortunately, as Noah's trying to navigate through some back markers as he makes it through the very difficult turn 11 and 12, and he slows down, and I think he's backed off from that lap as we see a lot of other drivers making their way through the course. Who is on a lap? Dolph, I'm not seeing this guy. Dolphy has not invalidated his lap. He has invalidated, I should mention. Who else is on a lap can you see, Freefall?
Currently on board with Surface, WR Surface, of course. Last week, making it onto the podium. He's currently out on the medium tyres, as you can see here, looking to set his initial lap time. And of course, Jake Marsh, GP, and Line Violet, the other drivers out in the medium, so opting for a slightly different strategy. Of course, 14 minutes to go, plenty of time. Noah Jones does set the first lap of the session, however, it's not represented. MX Chicken crosses the line to put the first representative lap time in. It's a 21.4, followed very closely by WR Surface in at the Haas over 122.1 on the median. 7 tenths a difference between the two tyre compounds there already. Jake Marsh, he's also on the medium lap. We're going to jump to his teammate Noah Violet. Actually, we're not. He's coming into the pits and Jake Mars has avoided the final corner there, making a little mistake. So it's on to Savietsky. I believe I've nailed down the pronunciation of this week, folks, so hopefully you don't need to bear with me on that. He's going to cross the line on those softs for a 22-4. Robin West next to cross the line in the Ferrari, of course, the most successful constructor around this circuit. He'll be looking to add to that tally tonight. Can only manage a 21.5, currently provisional P2. Few cars still on track there. One of them, our reigning championship leader, Shazu Jensen, currently invalidated a second lap here tonight, not quite finding the pace or the sort of the consistency he's had so far this season. Maybe the unluckiness, the sort of poor performance by his standards we've seen in Mexico is a little bit of demons creeping into the season. As we say that, he goes for a spin on the exit of turn 12 as Jake Marshall also retiring on the exit of turn 5. Of course, Whiteford at the end of sector 1.
Yes, Jake Marsh retired at, I believe he's crashed out after turn number 5 on the rundown to turn 6. He's in the middle of the track. I can't go on board with him because, of course, when you retire from the session, you cannot go on board with a driver in this game. Something that Codemasters honestly needs to fix. But I'm on board with Noah Jones right now as he makes his way across the first 2 corners, heading down to turn number 3, of course. Was a site of a few major crashes, of course, Alonso and Gutierrez in 2015, and I do believe 2016, because it has to exist in 2015, and 2001, I believe, which unfortunately claimed the life of a Marshall when a crash involving Jacques Villeneuve. And Noah coming through turn number 6 now, and turn 7, or actually no, turn 8, I should apologise, I forgot about turn 7, it does exist. Now, the not flat out turn 9 and 10 has been conquered, but is he setting... Well, of course, he's going to be setting a much faster lap time. Of course, he backed off on his first lap, but oh no, he's invalidated, actually, so that's going to be the end of his lap here. He's going to still have 6. Not even half the drivers have... Well, actually, just half of the drivers, if we're talking 7 out of 13, have set a lap so far, and 2 or 3 of them aren't really representative, of course, because they probably backed off. I know Ewing White did. A lot of drivers going on an outlap again. They're still cautious about the conditions. It's not raining yet, but that could all change. This is very important for any of the drivers coming out. Jabraka on a lap, though, coming down to turn number 3, free fall.
Yeah, I've just clicked the wrong button here, and I'm not quite sure what's happened there. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm messing about with the stream in the background there. Clicked the wrong button. Trying to organise things for the future. But yeah, Jabraka, the only one on a lap. Purple sector 1 coming through turn number 6. Of course, that little left kink, not much of a corner, but it technically is number 7. Then the long sweeping of number 8, of course, into Clark. The last time we're going to see this corner in a WR season, unless, of course, Codemasters delay the game by a great deal of time. Again, indeed, into the sharp left and right of 11-12, a very tricky chicane. Seen a few drivers lose time, lose their front end round the exit of that corner, but Jabraka holding it very nice and steady. Yet to set a lap time as we have yellow flags further back, but I think that's just a back marker. Letting a fast car go on through the compound of Ascari, Stewart and Prost, some of the legends of racing, of course, turns 13, 14 and 15 before the final corner of 16. Rounding that corner, getting that DRS wide open, the foot to the floor in that AlphaTauri to cross the line and set his first time of a 21-0, going top of the pops.
Top of the pops. I remember watching that show every week. It's a shame they cancelled it. It was a criminal act by the BBC. But hey, anyways, I'm on board with, I do believe, Chris, who... No, I don't think he's on a lap. Sorry. Jensen definitely is. He's just started his lap. Coming through the first few corners, of course, he invalidated the first time. He's validated again! This is a disaster for Jensen. And who knows how much time he has left. By the way, as I mentioned that, is my volume okay, Freefall?
I'll just have a little sound check. It looks to be on my end all right.
Thank goodness.
We seem to be all nice and balanced out. It's a rare thing, of course, the first time when you commentate with somebody, there's always a little balancing act. Everybody's got different microphone, everybody's got different sound quality, but I think we're looking good tonight. No complaints in the comments so far. Thank you to everybody that has joined in so far this afternoon, sorry. Easter weekend's already got me all over the place. We see a Red Bull there. I think that was DGS Balf going a little bit wide, getting out of the way of Line Violet. He's in his first lap here, coming through number 9 of Clark, and then the nice little left kink of 10 before you get essentially what is now, although it's not a DRS straight, it is essentially the back straight, the long sweeping left that isn't quite a corner. And then, of course, the fast chicane at 11 and 12. Opening that DRS. No, he's not, because he's retired. Losing it. We said it before. We'll say it again. That tricky corner of number 12. Losing it on exit and hitting the wall on the right-hand side. That is Line Violets qualifying over here in round 10 of Season 12.
Yes, that's both Alpha Mares out of the session. Chris has jumped across the line, but of course he backed off on his lap. It's at 1:52.7. And MX Chicken, the chicken has got the fastest time of the session so far. And I'd just like to mention, please do not confuse this guy with Funky Chicken. They are both completely separate people. One of them's British and the other is German. Chicken is, of course, German. He joined us last week and got a 6th place finish, a decent start to his WOR career. As I should see, Yabraka is currently 12 thousandths behind, waiting in the pit. It doesn't look like we got any rain as we feared yet. And this is going to be good news if you are going to run later, unless it starts to rain, because that means the track is going to get grippier and grippier. Jensen is on a lap again. Last time he invalidated, he does not want to do that again. I know he's well ahead in the championship, but he wants to win it as early as he can, as he comes through the zombie turn 9, and I say zombie because of the obvious reasons. And Noah Jones goes into the 120s, he 120.972. Goes top of the timing sheets for now, but of course Jensen's looking to go and above Noah as he comes through the tricky turn 11 and 12 that caught him out the first time. As he makes his way down to turn, it's turn 13. They've taken out one of the turns in the new layout. Now the final 3 turns are a bit of a handful, I have to say. The mistakes can be made and it can cost you time. As he makes his way around the final corner, and DRS on, stays in bounds just, but what's the time going to be? Oh, he's got it, 120.927, he switched the turn to 7th round and taken the top time from Noah Jones. It's like a copy and paste job, just swapping it around so it doesn't look obvious he's copied his homework.
Absolutely, make sure you copy it, but change it ever so slightly, showing why he is top of the pile when the lap was needed, when the pressure was on. Making it count, but just by a whisker. That exit of turn 16, the final turn, very, very tight. Have you seen some action for us there, Logan?
Urine spun at the Alpine at turn 12, but he is okay. He's got the hard surface out of nowhere. 120.757. He goes top of the sheets. We saw some great laps from Surface. Of course, that controversial one in Austria where he went across the grass, and it still counted because we're still on the grass at the timing line, but he's not doing that today. He's got 120.757, but of course, there's still 5.5 minutes of the session left to be had. Everyone in the pits except Jensen Surface, who are probably coming on their in laps, and Chris, who's lost his entire front wing trying to set another lap. He's going to have to come in. And so there's a bit of a lull in the action now, Freefall.
Absolutely. I think this is the perfect time to maybe jump in with what I was trying to organise, but made a little bit of a comical error with, as we see DJ stuck his lap. We'll join back to him later on. But of course, WR here, proudly here to say, in partnership with GridRival, they're sponsoring WR for the rest of Season 12. GridRival makes your favourite motorsport seasons more exciting, more engaging and more social through a fantasy app. Make sure to search for World Online Racing, that's WORLDONLINERACING, on the GridRival and compete against the community with a £25 prize pot for every 50 members that join, with WR adding another £25 into the prize pool. Make sure to download the GridRival app using the link below and sign up to the league, as it helps support the league tremendously. That's what I was trying to sort out earlier on, folks, when I had the little mishap trying to get my bearings in order. So I do apologise for that. Still getting into the professionalism here myself. But I noticed we have a retirement on track. Is that right?
Yes, Dalphy, I do believe, crashed. I wasn't actually looking at the screen. I was just checking some notes. Unfortunately, By the looks of it, somewhere, somehow, Dalfi is out of the session and will not get a time, so he'll start at the back alongside Line Violet, who had the same scenario, no time set. We see a couple drivers going out, and they are Noah Jones, Chicken, and Robin Wes. No sign of rain yet, but the clouds getting darker by the looks of it, I have to say. It doesn't look like the clouds are wanting to stop scaring off the drivers, and I do believe McChicken is about to come out and start his final flying lap, maybe second to last. He might have another lap in it yet if he backs off from this one. Here he goes then, down the straight, one shot at getting pole position. He needs to improve by about a quarter of a second as he crossed the first corner there. He should be crossing at the curb. That is totally optimal. He's got to be careful because some of the drivers who are going on an outlap will have to let him through here, and he has to hope that nobody interferes as he comes through the car park, which is what it is day by day when it's not in use for racing. Clean through turn number 5 and now turn number 6. Nice and clean over the curb. A little bit over the runoff there. That's what you should be doing. The cars in front of him on their outlap, he's coming to them very closely right now, and the first one of them I do believe is Misharin. And he has a bit of a wobble, McChicken, out of turn number 10. Now turns 11 and 12, Jabraka does the right thing and let him through. No interference through these turns, and he's cut it too much. He's cut turn 12 too much, and that will be his lap invalidated. But I think he might have enough fuel to go out again, as Noah Jones is coming through turn number 5 and on his lap. Free fall?
Yeah, very unlucky there for McChicken. Just cutting too much off the chicane, but like you say, sector 3, cool down those tyres, regain a little bit of battery, and he will have one final chance to go for this flying lap. No rain, like you say, but I must admit that circuit is looking very slippery and very greasy. Maybe just not quite getting the same heat you'd expect under the Australian sun. We are on board with Noah Jones. He's a 10th up in his time at the end of sector 2. All to play for here because he's not far with that time of putting that Williams on provisional pole. Round turn number 13 now, using a little bit of the curb on exit, nice, and extending the track as much as he can, and again a whisker away maybe from extending and invalidating, but using the maximum amount of that track to maximise his speed through the corners. Turn 16, and now the Nush Nyong run down to the line, and it is pole position, temporarily at least anyway, with a 120.722, 3.5 hundredths clear of WOR Surface, who of course will be on a lap. I believe the next to cross the line will be Robin West. He's invalidated, so the next man will be our championship leader, Shizu Jensen, coming through the final sector. Quite a little bit of traffic behind him, but of course that won't be too affecting of his lap. It won't be playing too much in his mind what the cars behind him are doing. Final few turns now, crucial to get these right. A nice exit down the final straight to maximise the speed and minimise the lap time. Is he going to get provisional pole? He is.
It's fantastic! Fantastic! 120.436. He goes under the 120.5, let alone 120.7. That's going to be a tough one to beat, free fall.
Absolutely. MX Chicken crossing line couldn't improve, and Jabraka losing it on the final corner. That will be qualifying for him. I believe a little bit of damage. Chris crosses the line, does improve, but is invalidated. In fact, apologies for that. I was kind of wondering what happened. And Surface has done the exact same thing as Jabraka, so it will not be pole for Surface, as he does have time to set another lap, but he's going to have no entry speed along at the start of this lap, so all eyes on Jensen. He is in the firm driving seat here.
Yeah, Jensen well ahead of the timing sheets, under 3 temps. I don't see Noah improving. Surface won't be doing another lap for sure. Chicken is, by the looks of it, yeah, he's backed off. Bracca's backed off. I think Misharin is still on a lap? No, I don't think he's on a lap. I think this is Jensen's to lose. Well, yeah, Robin Wes retires. I think that's it.
The only person that can change it out, no, he's invalidated. He was on for a lap there, CRE Chris. Maybe a little bit of commentator's curse. I do apologise to him if it was, but I thought he maybe had a chance he'll have the settle for P11. Rudy, I believe, is that a late join for Rudy, or was did he not just manage to get a lap in? I didn't see him retire on track.
I didn't see Rudy in.
Yeah, he must have just squeezed in at the death of the qualified session there, so he will make it for the race, of course. Will be starting in P12 at the moment, but that looks to be our qualifying done and dusted. The championship leader taking another pole and putting himself in prime position to try and push to wrap up this championship as soon as he can. A 120.4, 3/10, or just shy anyway, of 3/10 clear. Noah Jones on his debut here, coming in, as I say, very late tonight, puts his Williams on P2 with Surface. Of course, P2 in the championship can only muster a P3, 3/10 of the man at the top. But all to play for here around Australia. We've got a long Grand Prix ahead of us.
Yes, we do. So we're just waiting for everyone to retire from the session so we can progress on the game. You may take a note there that Jake Marsh set his best lap on mediums, and since he is in the top 10, he has to start on the tyre he set his best lap in. And the mediums are going to be his starting choice, regardless. He can't change, so he actually has a bit of advantage over the other 9 because he gets to stay out longer unless it decides to play havoc and start raining a botch. But other than that, it looks like it's all good for Jake Marsh. The drivers below him will also be getting a free choice. Jake Marsh doesn't get a choice. Chris, Rudy, Line Violet, and Dalfy, I think it is. So they get to choose whatever they want. The top 9 are going to be starting on softs, used ones, I'd have to say, and have been used a lot in this session, haven't they, Scott?
Yeah, a few drivers putting in multiple laps on their tyres. Few drivers maybe squeaking away, only getting 1 lap in, will have a short advantage. Of course, like you're saying, Jake Marsh, yes, he's in the mediums, but he's only just in the top 10 with those mediums, so likes of Chris, Rudy, Line Violet, and Dalf, they set on the mediums, they're going to have a fresher set, so he's going to be in a really precarious situation the first few laps. Of course, the tyres being used, they maybe will rubber in a little bit to begin with, so who knows, they could get a better launch, but like any race here, strategy is going to be key, and, well, we've seen it almost play havoc in qualifying. Will the strategy be twisted and tormented with the onset of some Australian weather?
Well, let's see as we transition to the race. And it's nice and sunny, so no interference from the Australian wilderness today. So 14 drivers getting ready for action. I should mention, by the way, sorry Scott if I've been calling you Freefall. I noticed calling you Scott is way better. Everyone calls me Logan anyways. As 30 seconds tick down to the start of the race formation lap, of course, where you get a chance to warm up your tyres. Got any notes about this race, Scott?
In fact, I've got more than just some notes. I've got a lovely, lovely little trailer put together by our very own content creator. So we'll crack on with that while the tyres and strategy is selected, of course. Round 10 here for Season 12 in WOR on the PlayStation Tier 1 calendar. Plays host in Australia. Albert Park Circuit, one of the few circuits found in the Southern Hemisphere, and of course, a temporarily street circuit here, so not your usual style racing circuit. There we go, a nice little street tight sector there you can see on the screen. 2 of the last 3 races have seen drivers take their first and only WR Tier 1 win, with TRL Martin and BDG Smasher being amongst them. Will we see a new driver take that illustrious task, or will it be another one for the leading champion of the World's Drivers' Championship, I should say. 16 turns, 5.3 kilometers here, 2 DRS detection zones and 3 DRS straights, of course, 10 of those turns being to the right, the other 6 to the left. Not much in the way of elevation changes, a relatively flat circuit, of course, in the middle of the city around Albert City Park Lake. Previous winners, of course, Antonized, Smasher, Martin and Leopard, the man in form around this circuit, winning here in Season 7 and Season 5. He's got 2 wins to his name in recent WR history. Last season, of course, Season 9 on Xbox Tier 1, Pancakes Puncture Pain, leading the race on lap 29 out of 29 on 27 lap old hards. Unfortunately, those hards not going the distance, and the strategy ruining by half a lap's length, costing him a win, and in fact damaging Smasher further behind him. So look out for tyre wear and tyre strategy problems around this track. Keeping with Xbox, it's of course dropping down to tier 2, and look at this for a move. 3 wide on the last lap through 11 and 12. The tight, tricky chicane. A very, very technical, tricky corner on a qualifying lap on your own, let alone in the race when there's cars all around you. But our 3 drivers here doing it very well to keep it clean, keep it respectful, and keep it glorious. Nice racing. Hopefully we'll see more like that as the drivers are lining up on the grid after completing their formation lap. And it's a mix of tyres, I do believe, for the grid, of course. The top 10 starting on the softs as required. Rudy and Dalv, P12 and P14, joining on the softs, while Jake Marsh, of course, restricted to those mediums, joined by CRE Chris and MAHE Line Violet. Little mix of strategy here as we get to look underway for the Australian Grand Prix. All the cars are lined up on the grid. And we have the 5 red lights coming on now. And it is lights out, and away we go for WR round 10 at Australia. The Ferrari of MX Chicken looking to get a very good start. W Surfers getting past Noah Jones into turn 1. Further back, a little bit of shuffling between the McLarens and Ewan and Robin West. But the front 4 getting away very, very clean. In fact, the front 6 getting away without much in the way of drama. Misharin having a look at Jabraka down into turn number 4 for P5, but not quite able to make the move done. But that, to me, looks like a very, very clean starting sequence in my eyes, Logan.
Yes, it does. There's actually been a bit of a squabble. Jake Marsh fell down to the bottom, and I think Savitsky is slowing down as well. He might have damage too, as Jake Marsh goes off the track as well. I think they may have some damage. They wouldn't be doing it under normal circumstances. Jake Marsh went very slow at the start of the race. He might have backed off if it wasn't for damage. I'm not sure if he does have any damage done. I think Shavitsky has. He's fallen right to the back of the order, apart from Jake Marsh. He's actually 4 tenths away, Jake Marsh is, from Shavitsky. But the front, it's Jensen ahead of Surface and Noah Jones. And as I speak that, Rudy has made up 5 positions, and one of them is Ewan, which he's just passed. Surface got up to 2nd from the start. That's a pretty good start from him. But other than that, it's been a horrible start for Jake Marsh and Savitsky. So far, Scott?
Yeah, not the dream start for the 2 at the back, having a little bit of damage. Of course, we all know how much a little bit of light green damage can affect you in this game. Rudy, though, what a charge the man in the Aston Martin is on, clearing Ewan down into turn 13 there. And he's right on the gearbox. In fact, he's past the gearbox of Misharan as he's had a spin on the exit of turn 2. He was tight behind him as that, getting out of the way and lucky to dodge that spinning McLaren. So 3 drivers already having a little bit of misfortune so far in this race. Further back, Chris on those medium tyres. He's hanging on to the back of Robin West pretty well at this stage, although looking to get a little bit of understeer there, whether that's a setup, a tyre, or just dirty air playing its impact on that Mercedes, trying to close in the gap at the front, to the front of him, back to Robin West. So he's actually managed to close up through Ewan through that first sector, almost making contact with the Alpine into turn number 9 at Clark. This long left-hander, which is technically turn 10, but only if you count the start of it on the run down to 11 and 12. Don't expect much in the way of overtaking through this sector. But of course it sets up the run for the DRS down through the final sector. Misharan, he's recovered from that spin, currently in the back of Dalf, but not able to make the move. I expect to see something maybe down into turn 1 here.
And Robin West actually had a good move on Chris down into turn number 3, taking... yeah, it was Chris, not Ewan, getting 8th place from Chris, and now he's chasing down Ewan. He's got some really good pace, this Robin Wes driver, as Jensen sets the fastest lap. Of course, Robin Wes was last week there, but of course he DNF'd. He's been in 3 races, this being his 4th, chasing down Ewan, but the gap seems to have enlarged a bit, as Misharan is trying to get in the back of Dalfi, who started at the back of the grid after retiring in qualifying. Rudy is on incredible pace. I said in earlier, before we began, Rudy was a fantastic driver, fantastic pace. In fact, he's got, if you can go over to Rudy, on my screen, he's got no helmet on, which is a complete breach of the rules. I don't know why he's not got any helmet on. Codemasters are just run out of the budget to give everyone helmets. But apparently he's got no helmet. Rudy won in PSGR last week as well. He's been on fantastic form. I do believe he's leading the championship if you don't count the drivers that have been promoted in PlayStation Formula 3. He is currently chasing down and blocked Ewan from the race. A big crash there Out of the race goes Ewan, and we could be looking at a safety car here if there is one, because sometimes it gives it, sometimes it doesn't. It's at one of the most dangerous parts of the track. Seeing nothing from... No, it's a virtual safety car. There we go, Scott. A virtual safety car out on lap 4.
Bit of indecision there from the stewards by the looks of things. Look to be all clear. I know sometimes if there's not a build-up of cars coming through the next sector into the incident, the game likes to get away with it. They can clear the car out of the way before anybody is really in any danger. But I think the two backmarkers there of Jake Marsh and Savitsky maybe just getting there in time, and the game deciding, nope, we need a VSC to clear this up. So this will be a nice little chance. Drivers to do a little bit of fuel saving, a little bit of the ERS saving. So maybe some challenges coming through, but of course DRS will be enabled from the next lap. It should be enabled this lap, but the VSC is going to play havoc with that. Detection zones, of course, just prior to turn number 11 for the DRS zone between 12 and 13, and then of course just before turn number 14, that's the double DRS zone we see on the run down to turn 1 and the run down to turn 3. So expect this train to maybe start moving, and Shavitsky getting a drive-through penalty adding to his woes. Currently finds himself down in P13 and will have to lose approximately 20 seconds now with that drive-through, unfortunately.
Yes, this has just not been a good day for the McLaren boys, and Masurin actually took advantage of the virtual safety car and pit under the virtual safety car, so he hasn't lost much time, but he is 22 seconds behind Line Violet, who has actually, no, it was his teammate that already picked Jake Marsh, who is in 10th place, Line Violet, so all he has to do is catch up, but of course these are fresh mediums that should, I think... Do you think they'll go to the end? I don't think they'll go to the end, actually, now I think of it, because the tires do shred, do have a tendency to shred sometimes. Rudy right on the back of Jabraka, and his pace has just been absolutely fantastic, as there's a spin there, it's Robin Wes! He had some good pace earlier, but he's now spun out of turn number 2 and lost the entirety of his front wing. He has to let drivers through as Noah gets a penalty. It is on the spinner of Jabraka. He has spun after turn number 5, and he's got to be careful. There are some cars coming through the track, and he doesn't hit them, of course, because he is ghosted. But that's Jabraka now well down the field. And there's another incident in Sector 2. Actually, no, it's just Robin Wes going slow. Noah Jones has lost 4th place to Rudy. He is on fire, Scott!
Rudy picking up the scraps of Noah Jones. Noah having a little spin, it looks like, at the start of Sector 2. He lost out to MX Chicken and Rudy as well, so maybe see that Williams coming in to the pits. I think it's a slight bit of wing damage, judging by the car.
Big damage.
Was big damage.
Big end plate damage. The end plate clean off.
That explains why he's lost so much time and so many positions. The drivers not quite up to speed with racing for the circuit, seems tonight. A few mistakes creeping in early doors, of course. Lap 6 out of 29. Plenty of action and time to still go here for a recovery, but that's not going to help Noah Jones's case in any shape or form. 5-second penalty, choosing to retire very early, I must say.
Yeah, I don't know why retire with a lot of drivers well behind. Why just trot on with just 1 point at least? I don't understand Noah Jones's motive there, but whatever it is, he's out of the session. That's a given.
12 drivers left here, and we're barely at the quarter of a way mark. Very, very high attrition Grand Prix by the looks of things. Only real one battle going on at track, I would say, other than the spins, unless I've missed something. Oh, well, Line Violet, I suppose, Line Violet and Chris, but I'm looking at the battle at the front. WOR, Suffers and Jensen in their championship positions. 5 tenths separating the two cars, of course. Suffers will have the DRS, Jensen will not. That could be a huge factor in who can get ahead, but also it's staying ahead.
Got Chris and Line Violet fighting for 6th position. While battling with Dalfi, Chris had a bit of a skid through turn number 5, and he's struggling. I think he might have some wing damage. The aerodynamics are not proper in that, and Line Violet is going to get a breeze into 6th place. Or is it? Chris is trying to get him on the inside, and he's trying to fight back Chris in the Mercedes, and he gets it done on the 3rd to last corner. Chris is not holding back. It might not be damage. He's just probably had a lapse of concentration. No, he's staying out, so it isn't damage. It's probably just a lapse of concentration after that skid. You know, getting in its head. You don't want to make so many mistakes. As Surf is right on the back of Jensen now, as there is another spin, and it's Robin Wes again, and again he's lost his front wing.
Really not going well for the Tifosi or the Ferrari here tonight. Robin West going to have to make another unscheduled pit stop. His teammate, though, currently P3. He has got Rudy all over the back of him. Another yellow flag. I believe that is just maybe Robin West getting back up to speed. Of course, having to take those chicanes very slow speed. But in fact, he's retired. We're getting board with Savitsky, and he's in the wall on the left-hand side on that DRS straight. A little bit of a weird place, I must admit, but maybe just losing it on exit without any downforce from that front wing.
Now, will there be a safety car? That is the question. As all the drivers come piling through, the leader included, as he's trying to fend off Surface, who is challenging for the lead. We're down to 11 drivers already. We could see less than 10 finishing. And if they don't finish with at least 90%, they won't be scoring points. So even if you're like 5th, but you only did 85% of the race, you're getting 0 zip nada. The gap increasing at the front to 4 tenths. But Rudy, by the way, on 3 tenths, is absolutely charging, and now he's going for a podium position already! He didn't even set a qualifying time, and he's challenging for a podium. This is insane. But this is the Rudy we all know and love. When he's down and out, he gets back up again, and he gets back up again. And now on the inside of McChicken! He can't get the move done, and he's still fighting it. Still fighting into turn number 5, the car park. This is insane, Scott.
Absolutely incredible. I've got the pleasure of commentating over Rudy twice a week now, and some of the things he can pull off is just incredible. A really pacey driver with a lot of skill, a lot of racecraft, and we're about to see it firsthand here. Down into turn 9, get some move done on the inside of MX Chicken. Not a foot placed wrong, given enough room and taking enough room to get the move done, and now he'll be on a charge to try and hunt down those top 2. 3 seconds of the gap to WR Surface, but with the pace Rudy is showing here, I wouldn't bet against him getting up near the front.
Yeah, but he's got one thing standing in his way, and his name is Jensen, and he works for Shazoo. And behind him is one of our own, but we have to be impartial here. It is Surface. Half a second behind. I did say it was 4 tenths last time. I was wrong. I was looking at the wrong one. It's 7 tenths. And now it's down to 4 tenths. Is he closing up to Jensen? But is he going to be close enough? I probably wouldn't blame him if he didn't go for the move. What is his run going to be like? I know Jensen's got the better run out of first turns, but can Surface close up in time? I don't think he's going to get it. No, he's actually further away than he was at turn number 1, as Rudy just trying to fly away as soon as he can. Now he cuts the gap to him and Surface to under 3 seconds, and falling even further as I speak. Lined out on the back of Chris, but I don't think there's going to be a move made. They're both on 8-lap old tyres. First pit stops are going to be coming soon. It's going to change up the strategy, and it could spice up this race. Scott?
Absolutely, the top 5 going to have to shoot into the pits very, very soon. Those soft tyres are going to be getting towards the end of their life expectancy anytime soon. So, that could play into the strategy. Expect most of the guys at the front here to be opting for the one stop. Of course, the danger with that as well, they're going to lose a pit stop, and if they can't get out in a nice gap, get stuck in some sort of traffic, or maybe just behind a slower driver that's opted for the alternative strategy, it can really play havoc on their race and their battles. The undercuts and overcuts, of course, they can have a massive effect here, and I expect to see one of our front 2 opting for that. Rudy further behind is Tonal on Chicken, I would almost say. They slowly, those 2, starting to close down the gap to the front 2, so hopefully, come the middle part of this Grand Prix, we could be seeing a 4-way battle for the lead here. That would be absolutely amazing to see. On board with Surface on his run down to turn number 3. He's half a second back here. DRS, but plenty of ERS in the tank. Smart play maybe here from Surface, knowing that he doesn't need to make the move now. There's plenty of time to go. Use that DRS to keep in touch with Jensen. Save up that ERS, and when the opportunity presents itself, make your move and break that gap.
You see, the closest battle is the one between the top 2, half a second. Meanwhile, update on Rudy, he's closed the gap down to 2.6. He hasn't really closed it down much, I have to say. He's only closed it down about half a second in the past 3 laps. He needs to catch up here. Rudy, of course, Jensen's teammate for tonight. Of course, no Tom. Again, I think he's dropped down to reserve, which is quite a shame because he's pretty much been Jensen's second-hand man for the majority of this season, and he's been providing them with a couple of 1-2s during the season as well. He has no wins to his name though, so he has probably the unwanted reputation of number 2 driver, but now he doesn't. He's in the reserve seat. So, kind of like the downfall of Danny Kvyat, perhaps. I don't want to like allude to real life circumstances, but yes, Surface the gap now half a second, and there's a bit of a battle going on between LineViolent and Chris. I should mention they were very close. I think they were touching wheels before I got to them, but now it's back to about 7 tenths. I think Chris has had a better run through Sector 3. His car probably built better for Sector 3 than LineViolent, so he's probably going flat out down the straights as Surface closes up to 4 tenths again. A bit ominous here, but, you know, of course, there's a long way to go. Surface nearly loses it at the car park, but recovers. Great recovery, but he has lost a bit of time to Jensen through turn number 4. But still, he has 19 laps left to show some magic here, Scott.
Absolutely, lots of time for Surface to make his move, plan his attack, and for, of course, any twists and tails we might see in this Grand Prix. Surface a little bit more handy on the ARS than Jensen, but you expect that Jensen out front, but still keeping, despite that little half spin within the DRS. That's going to be the crucial thing for him here. Speaking of DRS as well, Rudy has managed to break off Chicken from his DRS as Surface using it amazingly there to close up the gap to 2 tenths, or just over 2 tenths, so stretching it a little bit back out. Jensen seemed to get a better run through this final sector a lot of the time, and particularly through turns 1 and 2. However, it is going to be the first pit stop of the Grand Prix, not forced by a mistake or a wing change, and it's going to be Surface going for the undercut. MX Chicken following suit. I expect to see a set of medium striped tyres on to those two cars, and we do have a retirement at the exit of turn 2 at Savitsky, and this is a safety car.
Oh my word, and this could be a crucial moment in the race. Savitsky bang on in the middle of that track, and that is not a good situation to be. We already have 10 drivers, so pretty much if you make it through lap 26, you're going to be getting points. And LineViolent and Chris are in the pits. They're all in the pits, and this is going to help them, I think. Or is it? It might, but the leaders are already ahead. And I think this could be bad news for it could be bad news for Surface, because he pitted before the safety car came out, or probably just as the safety car came out, and Jensen and Rudy are going to get a reduced pit stop here, pretty much, and this is playing into the hands of the Aston Martins again. This always happens. The Aston Martins always find a way to dominate races. Better truth's never been told in my time on Earth here. Yes. 10 drivers, so all in the point scoring positions, but now they're going to be bunched up, and it's going to be all hell breaking loose in a couple laps once they all line up. It's going to be taking a while for that, I think. Jabraka's 1 lap down. Remember, in the game, they do not, and I repeat, do not unlap cars that are on the unlap. So unless Jabraka, actually I think he's going to be passing the leaders now, so he might be. Yeah, he is going to be unlapped, so he is going to be in the same lap. He's going to be in with a chance, Scott.
Absolutely, Jabraka doing the smart thing there. 3 lap old hards. He knows there's going to be time to reform the grid. Passing the leaders, get back on that lead lap, and now he can go whatever strategy he wants. Really, really big for him to give him a chance of maybe getting more than 1 point here for P10. Rudy, really the big loser out here. Jensen getting saved almost, because Surface having to serve some of his time under normal race conditions, doesn't get the benefit of the full safety car and doesn't get the benefit of the undercut. MX Chicken though, rubbing his chicken wings together, or his little fingers, whatever you want to paraphrase it as, gets the jump on Rudy, of course. Although Chicken serving some of his time under green flag conditions, Rudy got held ever so slightly by Jensen. Not by much, of course. The double stack not horrendous under safety car, but still getting held a little bit. LineViolent, of course, starting on the mediums. He's pit for soft, and I believe he's in for a second pit stop here, if I am right.
Yeah, he's going for 2 consecutive soft tyre runs by the looks of it, which I'm not sure you can do in this, but Wait, what did he start again? Did he start on the softs? Let me just check my race director.
I believe he'd start on the mediums. I thought he was doing the
Yeah,
classic strategy of one lap on the softs and then jump back on a set of mediums.
yeah, he's done medium, hard, soft. So, unless if he's pitting again, then he probably is going to be doing 2 sets of soft, which is quite interesting. You can do 2 sets of soft. Nora Jones did that earlier. As I go join back the race, and yeah, so only driver on soft is Line Violet. Chris and Jabraka on hards. All the drivers on the lead lap, so no, there's not going to be any need to. Well, you can't unlap anyway. No driver has been left in the dust. It's going to be taking a while to get all of them lined up. Jabraka is about a minute, well, less than, about 50 seconds behind the leading pack, who are pretty much half of the field. 6 cars. In fact, Chris has went into the pits. Chris is coming into the pits, and he's going to change to hards. I think this is just the strategy. Remember, you can loophole this. You can pit twice under the safety car, although it sends you the back of the grid. That technically means you run the same compound, but you change from like medium to hard to medium. That is legal, I should mention. There's no been any queries about it by the WR staff and stewards, so if it's fair game, then go ahead and do it. I'm not complaining. Chris's second set of mediums, so yes, he is doing the strategic compound loophole, which has been done by a lot of drivers, very famed. I should mention, Misharan has done 3 sets of medium tyres in this race. Crazy, right? Or Misharan's pitting. Free fall, you still there?
I just realised I had clicked the wrong button on my microphone. Apologies, that folk. I meant to turn my volume up a little bit, and I muted myself. Professionalism at its finest here, folks.
Well, at least you only heard my voice.
Absolutely, absolutely. You did a fine job filling in while I was sitting here in silence trying to talk back to you at times. But yeah, Jabraka opting for the hards there, of course, unlapping himself, getting a set of mediums on, so he might have to get the pace down here to catch up with the pack. I expect we might see the safety car in this lap. Could play a little bit foul on his race strategy. We'll find out very soon, of course. I like to say Line Violet on the hards opting for the softs. I'm surprised he didn't go for a set of mediums. At first I thought the hards, that's maybe the little Jeff bug we sometimes see, the drivers opting to pit this lap and the game automatically switching them to a hard compound strategy. I thought maybe he's going to jump back in and put a set of mediums on, but opting for the softs. All drivers here then on essentially new softs, aside from Line Violet on, essentially new mediums, sorry, aside from Line Violet who's on fresh softs, and Misharlin who's on 9 lap old mediums. Safety car, of course, going for another lap, so it will be lap number 16 before we get under racing here. Leave us 14 laps of the Australian Grand Prix, just hitting the halfway mark now. 1 VSC, 1 safety car, but 4 retirements.
We feel like we've been in the safety car for an eternity. It's been out for so long. Because Jabraka's well behind. It's not really his fault. He has every right to pit. But it just lengthens the race even more. As he's definitely going to be behind the safety car for sure as they come around. This will be the last lap under the safety car. Because it usually only goes when everyone's bunched up. Because they want everyone in the action. So we are past the halfway mark. It is effectively a Aston Martin 1-2, the safety car being an Aston Martin tonight. And no complaints about the speed, please. It's as fast it can go. It's not its fault it gets to go that fast. If it wanted to go faster, then think slow, for goodness sake.
Of course, we can see the lovely bit of aero in the game, presenting plenty of downforce on this Aston Martin. Maybe not quite to the realistic of its real-life counterpart, but hopefully the driver's quite happy with the speed of it. Of course, plenty of them will be happy to see the speed of it flying into those pit lanes and getting us under green flag racing. Not to mention us in that list here, as the safety car is going to come in this lap, meaning Jensen is your effective safety car and pace setter here. He will have control of the pack, building up a gap and letting that safety car shoot into the pits, and then it'll be down to him. Does he want to go early? Does he want to go late? Of course, the one thing he is doing, warming that tyres. Look at those cars getting ready and raring to resume racing. 10 cars here in what's essentially a 14-lap shootout from P1 to P10, all to play for.
All to play for indeed. So Jensen is going to be under the cosh here, but as we know, he is fantastic under pressure, so I won't be surprised to see him break away from the pack. No side-by-side before we get the line, please. The rules changes in real life also apply here. Jensen's got his foot down on the throttle. He's going to lead him away. He's got an absolutely brilliant start. He's already get the gap to 8 tenths. Surface being left in the dust alongside McChicken and Rudy and Duffy and all the rest of them as they come through the first turns. Don't make any mistakes here. That's the last thing you want to do, as it doesn't look like there's much action coming through the first 2 turns. They all get through nice and clean. The gap building even further now, up to 9 tenths. 8 tenths, sorry. I read that wrong. I might probably need glasses for this. As they all come through the car park section, Line Violet, the only driver on softs, chasing down his teammate, Jake Marsh, coming through to turn number 6, going for 6. It looks like Line Violet cut the corner. Yeah, he definitely cut the corner. And he's got a 3-second penalty cut down by the stewards there. Don't want to be caught out doing that. He did caught a massive, I have to say, going through that turn. And that's not going to do him any favours. He wants to go up the order. He's going to fall down the order instead. And he doesn't want them to be this too close to everyone else, because they are. Then, by the looks of it, they're going to be right at the back of the pack. And Dalfy also falling victim to the steward's rulings there. 3-second penalty for him as well. Rudy has already caught up to McChicken. He's 4 tenths behind. But Chicken is a whole second behind Surface. No DRS yet, but Surface has caught up to Jensen.
Surface having a better second half of the lap, shall we say. Jensen getting an almighty restart, pulling out that 8th gap to begin with, but Surface really settling in, setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix while he's at it. He's finding some good pace in those mediums, perhaps. Definitely going to be able to take them to the end, although it says 5 laps in the lifetime, of course. 4 of those have been served under the safety car. Rudy on the tight end of Chicken, who's actually caught up to Surface here. And Dalfy, sorry, not Balfy. He isn't too far off the leading pack as well, though 12 seconds for him. Going to be a big disadvantage come at the end of this race. Line Violet now on the rear end of Jake Marshall, the teammate here. Will we see a bit of multi-21, or will we see let's let them race? It seems to be let's let them race. Line Violet going down the inside into turn 8. Marshall moving over to the left and not really fighting it too hard. So maybe not too much race, let them race. Just race a little bit. Rudy though, really tight to the Ferrari, going for the move around the outside of turn 10, 11 and 12. What a wonderful move from the Aston Martin driver.
Where are you, F1 Esports? You're looking at your next great driver in Rudy. He absolutely sent it through a section where you should never send it. It's verboten under the driver's unwritten rules. But he said, no, screw the rules. I have skills. Just like Seto Kaiba in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, I have to shout out to that series, as Jensen sets the fastest lap, and Chris gets a penalty. This is crucial time. You don't want to get penalties, especially if you're in the points fighting for positions. I should mention Dalfy has 12 seconds of penalties. No doubt he's going to be thrown down the order, possibly last, but whatever he gets is going to be points if he finishes the race. Because remember, you've got to finish 90% of the race, be eligible for classification and points, of course. So, sorry.
I was just about to say, as Michael Schumacher said, first you must finish.
And that's wrong. Line Violet should not be in 10th. That is a glitch. So please ignore that. He is in 6th. Ahead of, there we go. He's ahead of Jake Marsh. Please ignore that. He is in 6th. So as we look at, I think the gap is 8 tenths at the top. Doesn't even see much battling, but we have Sharon right in the back of Jake Marsh, going through turns 11 and 12, making their way down the DRS zone. DRS on for Sharon as he goes on the inside of Jake Marsh. Lovely move, and and Jake Marsh has a horrible exit out of the corner. Chris is going to take advantage, and I think they've just collided. I didn't get the on board of it. And he's been shut out by Jake Marsh and has to remain in 9th for now, as Rudy absolutely flying. He's now a 1:23.6, sets the fastest lap of the race. 4 temps between Jensen and Surface. Can Jensen fight back and Surface fight back and find a way? But no, he cannot. Linebot right on the edge of Daffy, who has 12 seconds of penalties, but Daffy staying put in 5th. No, he goes wide at turn 3, and Linebot right on the edge, and Chris is falling down the order. I think he had a collision with Jake Marsh, and now he's losing a position at Jabraka, but they come through! Oh, this is not looking good! And Jabraka has spun! Jabraka has spun at turn 5. They came together, Chris and Jabraka, through the turn, flat out, and it was not going to end very well. It's ended in tears for Jabraka, and now he's fallen back, and Malign Violet has spun at turn 9. He has fallen into the gravel trap, and right at the back of the field, he's not 10th, by the way. He's definitely 10th now, because Jabraka's passed him. So there's not going to be any decent problems. But at the top, it's getting close. Jensen Surface now separated by about 4 temps.
Crucial to that as well, Rudy and Chicken joining in this little DRS train. The gap was just over a second between Rudy and Surface, but Rudy managing to pull that gap down and dragging Chicken along with him. Chicken sitting very nicely in the DRS of the Aston Martin. All kicking off here through the bottom to mid-pack, but of course the top 4 staying very cool, calm, collected. 4.4 seconds separating these 4 from the rest of the field after only a few laps of racing as well, showing the quality. Surface again closing down on Jensen, but not quite able to make the move into turn number 3. Jensen, crucially though, better off on the ERS front, about 20% more of that battery able to deploy. This could be crucial for him, just using it to defend that DRS if and when he needs to. Surface, of course, will be vulnerable not just only on the attack but in the defence, because he has got the mighty fast Rudy and Chicken very close behind him. So playing a little bit of a duel here, balancing out attack and defence, does the Haas driver and of course the Aston Martin of Rudy. Chicken looking in the back there, looking to take on any chances, any scraps and any opportunities. 10 laps to go here, 9 laps once they cross the finish line. We're in for an absolutely climactic finish to this race, of course. Only 5 of our drivers not having penalties that'll shake up the final order. And right now, folks, you're looking at 4 of them.
4 of them, very close proximity of each other. I think Jensen, what he has to do is play around with Surface so Rudy can get the jump on him. And that's a team game they're willing to play, as the gaps seem to fluctuate even more. There was a bit of a yellow flag there. Please do ignore that. There were no incidents to be had, as Surface now comes within 3 temps of Jensen. Rudy needs to get close to Surface if he's going to try and justify a move. Please ignore the yellow flag. That is a bug with the game. Come on, Codemasters, sort it out. But Chicken has front row tickets to this freeway bout between 2 Astons and a Haas. Surface has got a penalty, as I was about to say. He was in a Aston Martin sandwich. He's got a penalty, and that is absolutely crucial to this race. Now Rudy has wondered, he's got a blinker in his eye, and he's thinking, oh, this is my chance. Add insult to injury to get Surface.
Absolutely, he's seen that 3-second time penalty. Surface now not just having to make the move done, he can't just sit and wait to the penultimate lap or the final lap, get the move done and cross the line. Thank you very much for the little steal at the end. He's now got to make the move and make the gap, or force Jensen into some mistakes to maybe get a penalty, although that's going to be very tricky with a caliber driver of Jensen. Rudy licking his chops, as is Chicken further behind. They know they don't even need to make the move in Surface to beat him at this race as it stands. Stick within that 3-second gap, and it's all to play for. These 4 all grouping up, though. It seems as every lap they're going from 6 tenths apart to 5 tenths apart. Now we're getting down to 4 tenths between all of the cars. Only about 1.5 seconds separating 4 cars, speeding around this circuit at well over 160, 170, 180 at times miles an hour. It's a glorious thing to see. Further back, Gomel Jabraka, the only other driver apart from those 3 in the top 4 without a penalty. He's hanging on to the back of Chris, not able to quite make a move yet. We'll keep an eye on that battle and see if Jabraka can make up the move in due time. But before that, we'll switch, of course, back to the front 4, where all the action, all the excitement is happening, and where all the big points are doled out. Rudy not quite able to get the jump on Surface through the first sector, keeping it nice within that gap, of course. The benefit for Surface is he is attacking a car in front that does not have DRS. He, of course, does have DRS to help him defend from Rudy. You typically see in these stereotypical DRS trains the first and second car swapping places all the time. But Rudy showing some tremendous pace here, able to sort of jump in and overstep that stereotypical a bit of an anomaly almost in the DRS train circuit here. Chicken doing very well despite Rudy closing down the gap to the front two, hanging in there like dear life. Further down, Jabraka getting the move done on Chris, unfortunately just missing
Brilliant
that.
move.
Is that brilliant? Down the inside into 13, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was, as the gap is getting even closer between the three protagonists of this race. Surface closing up to Jensen, but don't think he's going to be close enough. Just a few centimeters separating them. There's still 3 attempts, and Dalfi, there's been an incident at Sector 1, yellow flags. I think it was, yeah, Dalfi slowing down. I think he might have damage. You can't really see it, but that is a sign he might have damage. If not the wing, it's probably side pod damage. And this is, well, Dalfi, to be fair, has 15 seconds of penalties, so it's probably not going to play much of a part. Linda is definitely not 2 laps behind. It says on my screen he's 2 laps down. Does that say it on your screen, Surface?
It says that as well. I believe it. I did see a little bit of connection issues with him earlier on the Grand Prix, so maybe a little desync connection bug between Codemasters and himself. Unfortunate for him, but he is currently in P10 as it stands either way. Hopefully we'll get a final sort of classification on his time behind. Of course, all he needs to do is finish, and he's still in for points regardless.
Yes, he will be getting points regardless if he finishes the race. Yellow flag glitch going up again. Not too much of an issue though, as the top 4 I should say, coming through separated by 1.6 seconds combined, make their way to start the first of the final 6 laps here at Albert Park in Melbourne, which has been hosting races for 26 years this year. It's insane to think that. I wasn't even thought of when it was a thing. And Surface still close to Jensen, as Dalfi coming into the pits for a wing change. He'll be in 10th for sure, as Jensen still in the lead here, ahead of Surface. Can't be ahead of your own self, for goodness sake, Logan. Rudy starting to fall behind a bit though, as well as McChicken is actually gaining a bit of time, but they remain put for first to 4th so far. Mitshurin is 10.7 seconds behind the leading pack, but Jake Marsh is about 1.5 seconds to Mitshurin, but remember, both have penalties, and of course Surface, most crucially, has penalties, and he's very close to Jensen right now. He has a chance to make the move. Will Jensen do anything? Remember, no penalties, but he could try and run away with it. Here he goes to the inside. Surface for the lead of the race, but he can't get it done. Jensen with fantastic defensive move around the outside, stays in first. He said, no way, even with that penalty, you're not getting away with the move. And Dalfi has retired from the session in the pit lane. He's had enough. He was in the pit lane for a long time, to be fair, and is out of this race, but he's not going to get any points either. So yeah, a Surface right behind Jensen, but can't get a move done yet, and Rudy is right behind him now too. This is really starting to heat up. A Surface goes to the inside, and Jensen coming close too. Rudy on the outside, and Jensen has been squeezed out. Surface takes the lead, but look at this. Renzi and Jensen, the 2 teammates fighting through turn number 5, nearly collide, but keep it together and keep it out of contact. How they've done that, I have no clue, but this is only helping Chicken. Chicken has seen, oh, this could be a good move, but Jensen, I don't think he's going to be happy with losing that position. And Rudy actually goes off the track for a bit there, and this will help Chicken's chances. But if they let Surface get away too much, he might win the race. Remember, he's got 3 second penalties, but he makes a 3 second gap, he wins this race. And Rudy goes over the bump massively. But this is all changed now. Rudy's got to get Jensen, and Jensen's got to fend off Rudy and get Surface back. He wants that first place on track.
Absolutely, some amazing driving on display here by these top 4. The top 3 in particular, no disservice to Chicken, but he's not been involved in the last 2 laps battle. Jensen's shown some masterclass defensive skills, but not enough to overcome the DRS into turn 3, and then what a move it was down into turn 3. They were almost 2.5 wide, shall we say. A little bit of corrugated, stagnated 1 by 1, but almost 3 wide at some aspects. Surface needing these 2 behind him to battle it out, create a gap, and hopefully he can dart off into the distance for the sake of his victory chances. However, Jensen and Rudy not allowing that gap, sticking around that half a second mark. It's going to be very different for Surface to create any sort of gap to capitalise on the penalty that he does have and try and mitigate that. His best bet is that one of these two, or at least two of them, or three of them, shall we say, because let's not forget about Chicken lurking in the distance there, picks herself up a penalty. The battle for the top three really going on. No matter what happens with penalties, I think these three are going to give us a tremendous battle all the way to the finish for sort of the boast of I finished first on track, regardless of the penalties, regardless of the track limits. Rudy, though, looking for a run on his teammate down into turn 13. He does go for it. Sort of half thinks it, almost making contact, but the two of them doing very good to minimise any impact on each other's race. Jensen masterful at defending that corner by the looks as Rudy locks up and loses the car. Chicken sneaking past on the inside says, thank you very much. I will have that position on you.
I think there might have been a bit of contact between Jensen and Rudy, probably accidental by the looks of it. I know the teammates wouldn't do that to each other, but Rudy now in 4th place provisionally, and he's going to try and get past McChicken. He's wasting no time getting to work, and he does a dive bomb into turn 3, but he's pushed him off the track. He surely will have to give that back. He ran him off too much, I think. He's going into turn number 3, and McChicken's not going to be happy as Jake Marsh is out of the race. But I think he might have just completed enough to get some points, but it will only be 2 points for not finishing the race. Dalfi will not be scoring. He definitely didn't complete 90% of the race. But Jake Marsh is out of the race, and we're down to 8 here in Melbourne. And Rudy has got past McChicken, but remember, he might have to give that back. He might get a penalty for squeezing him off track. I don't think Max Chicken is very happy with Rudy as they make their way through into Sector 3 now. The gaps are seeming to increase, but that doesn't really faze Jensen. He's still within 3 seconds. He still has a chance of winning this race. He doesn't have to worry about passing Surface. Surface has to run as fast as he can. You can't catch me. I'm Haas's #1 man. But I don't think he's going to be celebrating much right now as they make their way through to start the first of the final 2 laps, Scott.
2-lap shootout here for what is essentially the 3 podium positions and the best of the rest. Really, really big battles here to ensue. Rudy getting that move on Chicken, like you say, a little pushing him off track might be one for the stewards' offers. But in the meantime, Jensen closing that gap to Surface. Surface not able to really break away from these guys and maximise his advantage at the front here. And he's really needing to do that with that 3-second time penalty. I wonder if Jensen's just thinking, I don't need to overtake you. I'll just run my race, use the DRS, save some ERS, and then use it whenever I need it. No, of course, bonus points for finishing first on track. It's where you finish in the classifications. Rudy taking a little bit too much of the inside curb there into turn number 9 at Clark. Almost losing the car onto the grass on the outside. Chris putting in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, of course. All these drivers that do finish will be in the top 10, so obviously available for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Jensen still sticking behind Surface. We've seen it took Surface a long time to pluck up the courage or get the right opportunity to make the move on Surface. So I wonder if it's a similar situation on here. Further back, Micharn and P5, 15, almost 16 seconds adrift from the top 4. Jabraka.
He has a penalty.
He has a penalty, of course, as well. Let's have a little look at the penalties. 12 seconds for Micharn and 20 seconds for Chris. That's... I've never even seen him pick that up. I wonder if they are some pit
5
lane
seconds in the pit lane.
There must be a couple of 5 seconds in the pit lane. Yellow flags at the exit of turn 2. I believe that is another one of our glorious Codemaster glitches. And 3 seconds for line violet. But the crucial one here, WR Surface, 3 seconds for himself out at the front. Of course.
I've got my eyes on Rudy. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near. He needs this to win because remember Surface getting that penalty, but he's not even close. Jensen is very close to Surface. He just has to hold on right behind him. He doesn't have to do anything stupid. He will win this race for the 5th time in 6 weeks. It is insane how he is running. He's pretty much got 1.5 hands on the trophy now. He doesn't need to make this move, but just for old playing sake, he might as well do it. Surface Not challenging. He's going to go for it on the inside. And oh, he loses it! He loses it! This throws us really back in the game. Can he catch up and put one surprise move out of his hat? But I don't think he's going to get it. Dramatic ending to this race, but can he hold on? I think he might be about to hold on. Surface has just proved to be a bit of a sting in the tail, but Jensen is going to come home as your winner, as Surface has a massive crash out of frustration. He's not going to be on the podium. McChicken is going to get third. It's Jensen who wins again. Rudy and McChicken in third, and fourth for Surface. Absolutely furious with that 3-second penalty. Jabraka is going to finish in fifth. He's passed Masharan just at the last. It doesn't really matter. He was going to be in fifth anyway. Masharan will be sixth. I do believe we line Violet in seventh because there is a bit of a timing glitch. And I do believe he has 3 seconds of penalties. He will definitely be in seventh. Sorry, Chris has too many penalties anyway, so it is going to be line Violet seventh, Chris eighth, and Chris will get 4 points actually for his troubles. As I don't believe the race is properly finished for actually the order is shuffling a bit. That is totally wrong, of course. We know the order. We've just said it. As everyone's leaving the session. And what's happened here, Scott?
I believe what's happened is the original host of the lobby is maybe backed out at some point during the Grand Prix. I did see migrating host. You might have seen it as well, folks, at the bottom of your screen. It has known to sometimes cause issues when the host leaves the session and it starts migrating. And I think we might be on our second or third iteration of the migration. So maybe in about 1 minute, 30 seconds time, you can see that time remaining counter counting down. We will have our official standings. But in the meantime, your winner here tonight in the Aston Martin, it is of course Jensen. The Aston Martin won to rounding off at the 10th Grand Prix of the season, of course, here in Australia. I suppose, while we wait for the session to maybe resolve itself, we'll have a look at the calendar, see what awaits our drivers in the next few rounds. Round number 11 sees us go across to the Algarve in Portugal. A very tricky and tumultuous track that drivers seem to either love or hate, and tyre temperatures love to inflate. Saudi Arabia plays host to round number 12, a very new track to the F1 calendar, both in the game here in WOR. Sorry, I'm combining every letter under the sun here, including all the ones in Saudi Arabia. And of course, to the F1 calendar. France and Britain see our penultimate 2 races, essentially a nice little European round off before the historic home and the historic ending of F1 in my eyes, Brazil. Quite an interesting calendar, I must say, Logan. I'm looking forward to a few races.
I've never commentated on Jeddah before because when I was supposed to do it in PSGL, I was actually working. Sometimes I have to work Mondays. I'm working this Monday as well, sadly, so quite a shame. But you know, I'm looking forward to that. France and Britain, but most importantly Brazil. But to be fair, I think the title will be decided by the time we get there.
Quite possibly, but still plenty to pay for, of course. Everybody wants, if you can't get P1, you'll be wanting P2. P1 tonight, though, Jensen extends his lead over WOR Surface, who can only manage P4 in the championship. Rudy, despite joining late, starting 12th, gets P2 with Chicken, an impressive P3 from P4 on the grid. Jabraka taking P5 with Masharan P6. I believe it was then Line Violet in P7 with CRE Chris, the last of your finishers. Only 8 out of 14 finishers here tonight around Australia. I wonder, Logan, do you think we'll have any interviews tonight? Do you think a couple of the drivers will be up for a quick little chat?
I'll ask.
We'll see if we can get a few of them in. But while Logan takes care of that, have a look at our partner here for the rest of Season 12. It is, of course, GridRival. They have partnered up with WR for the rest of Season 12 as a sponsor. Make sure to check out GridRival for make your motorsport series more exciting, more engaging, and more social through their fantasy app. Search for World Online Racing on the GridRival app and compete against our community here with a prize pot of £25 for every 50 members that join, topped up by a lovely little £25 by the WOR team just to add to the prize pool. Make sure to go down to the description and download the GridRival app using the link below and sign up for the league. It really helps the league, really helps grow everything and provide the guys behind the scenes to do as much as they can to build and support the league for the drivers, for the viewers, and for the community, of course. Thank you very much, GridRival, for getting involved. Our winners tonight, though, Aston Martin, I suppose we'll jump back to that very quickly. Very dominant team, despite who's in that number 2 seat. Jensen really been in a class of his own this season, must be said. Like you were saying, 1.5 hands on the trophy.
Absolutely running away with it. I'm trying to get them in. I don't know how to do that, though. They are all saying yes to an interview, so that's good. We're going to get an interview from the entire podium tonight. But I'm honestly not sure how to get them in, because I don't think I have the requirements to let them into the booth.
I wonder if they'll have permissions for our commentary booth. Bear with us, folks. We'll try and get your top 3 in for a quick little chat, but if not, we'll round off very, very soon. Hopefully, though, it's always nice from a viewer's perspective, from a driver's perspective, and from a commentator's perspective to be able to get our top 4 through, our top 3, sorry, through for a little chat.
I don't think Circus would be happy doing an interview anyway, so top 3 regardless.
Top 3 regardless, yeah. Maybe best keep Suffers out of that with his unfortunate penalty, of course, costing him a potential win here tonight. I wonder if it is maybe an admin side of things, maybe just a few boxes needing ticked. We'll give it a couple of minutes anyway, folks. See if Logan and the team can get our top 3 in. Hopefully they'll join us very, very shortly. Of course, the standings here prior to the race. Jensen 163. He's going to get the maximum points here tonight. 25, taking his total up to 180. That scores provisionally before any stewarding or retroactive changing of positions. Of course, Surface could only settle for P4. Sees the gap at the top jump away from him ever so slightly. Jabraka currently in P6 in the championship, bringing home a nice little tally of points. We'll see him jump up a few positions over the likes of Jackaboot and Bolin, both missing tonight. Rudy and Chicken, both with a good collection of points, find themselves further down the championship order as it stands. But those points tonight will be a big, big jump for them, particularly for Chicken. Only scoring 8 points in the season so far. Of course, making his debut last week in Mexico, so maybe a little bit worse. Maybe a bit not too bad when you say it that way. So a good showing from the reserve. 8 points in the last race. Another solid points haul with a podium this week. Maybe one to watch out for the end of the season, of course, as we run into next season as well. Plenty of action, though, to come in this championship. Plenty of positions still to be made available and claimed by the drivers. Hopefully, we'll have a slightly inflated grid on what we did tonight. Next week, the action will still be just as good and glorious. Now, Logan, have we had any luck on the interview front?
Yeah, I think we've got the waiting for an interview box. I don't know how to move them though.
I think
Oh no, we got one. We got one. Here we go. Hello. Just gonna get both of them in. Why not? Just need to wait for MX Chicken.
I suppose while we wait for Chicken, we can get things started off. I suppose we'll start off with our pole sitter, our race winner tonight, and our championship leader. Let's not forget that a little aspect. It is, of course, the one, the only Shizu Jensen or Jensen. Apologise if I'm been saying it the wrong way. I've been sticking with Jensen. Ideal. Another race victory for you tonight. Sees your tally rise to 7 this season. You're well clear at the front. 71 points going into tonight. With only 5 rounds to go, sorry. You must be feeling pretty confident for your title challenges at this stage.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it was my 6th win this season. Out of the 10 races, so it's gone very well. And yeah, it was a good, fun race, especially in the second stint against Rudy and Surface to put up a really good challenge. I saw Surface got a penalty, so I was a lot more like opening to letting him through when he had the run on me, because I didn't want to waste my energy. So I've got passed by Rudy if I kept on defending. But yeah, Rudy put up a good fight as well. He managed to try and stick it up the inside, I think. But I managed to just keep it around the outside and keep the place. Yeah, I think his challenge forward there, and I tried getting Surface on the last lap, but I think he was a little bit more confident on the brakes into the braking zone, and yeah, kept it, but he had a penalty, so at least I managed to take the win off that. Of course, not on track, but still very happy.
Yeah, we did see he tried for the move down into turn 13 on the last lap. Looked to be on, but like you say, um, very, very confident on the brakes. Of course, the Haas driver able to sort of shut the door on that, but still, the win, regardless whether it is or isn't on track, you've got to be happy with that, of course. Next week sees us travel to Portugal. How are you feeling at that? I think everybody's going to have you down as the firm favourite based on how this season has went so far. Are we going to see that translate to on-track results, or is maybe Portugal one of your bogey tracks?
Yeah, I like Portugal. But yeah, I think the rest of the tracks are all some of my favourite tracks, or that none of them I hate. Absolutely love all of them. So yeah, can't wait. Jeddah's gonna be good fun, for sure. Probably saw last season, me and Sam Corby went to the line on that. It seems to always end in a drag race at Jeddah for the race win. So yeah, um, that will be an interesting one because you can't really predict that. But yeah, I'm excited for the next 5 tracks and hopefully try and wrap up the tide. I could probably wrap up the championship next week if I outscore Surface.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I think 17 points or so. Actually,
Yes.
I've always wins in the pocket, so I think 100 point. I need a 100-point gap. So
Yeah, 88 points is the gap between. No, 84 points is the gap between you and Surface. 188 for Jensen and 104 for Surface. So, if you score a win and Surface fails to finish on the podium, you will be wrapping up the championship. The Surface, I believe, is the only driver that can stop you now, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see.
I think there's other guys that are within the gap, but they're like not like full-time drivers anymore. So yeah,
No, Santeri's on 54, Tom's on 66, Bones 61. I think the only one that can touch you pretty much is Surface, but that's going to be a long shot. So you could wrap it up in Portugal, like it was last year, wrapped up in Portugal by Sam Corby. But of course, he's going on to bigger, better things, going into place PC and challenging the drive likes of Jarno Opmeer and Alvaro Caraton, Nicholas Longue, just to name a few. But Jensen, it looks like you have one hand on the trophy, sir.
yeah, I don't think I'll be going on to do any of that. Yeah, I can't afford any that kind of stuff, so just stick to PlayStation racing. But yeah, I'm hoping to get it done in Portimao, but if I can't, I mean, it's always Jeddah.
Yeah, there is fantastic track. I think might be the biggest opportunity to win the title. It would be it would be such a incredible way to win it if you win it like Sam Corby did there last season, but you lost out, of course, by about on the second to last corner he got you, and he won by about 2 tenths. We're probably not seeing a repeat of that because first of all, Sam Corby's not there, Boland's not there, and the only driver that can really challenge you to the win is going to either be Rudy or Surface, kind of like tonight was.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on the next races, but yeah.
Yes. Well, I've got to say congratulations once again for your 6th win of the season, the 5th in 6 races. It's insane. Of course, we won't talk about last time because, of course, that was a disaster. Just getting 1 point, but I don't think you're too phased by that. We've got the hard work done in the bag. But congratulations once again. Yeah. Free fall, I think you should move on to the next driver tonight.
Absolutely. Just congratulations again, Jensen, for your win tonight. Rudy, though, how are you doing, my friend? Pleasure to speak to you again. It seems nearly a week by week basis I'm speaking to you in some sort of capacity, congratulating you on a good result. And what can I say about tonight? Late to the session, of course, not getting any time in and to get any laps in quality, of course. Didn't phase you at all. Charging through that field to get to P2, you've got to be mighty ecstatic with that result here tonight, my friend.
Rudy?
I've seen his mic on mute, so he is definitely here. Maybe a little technical glitch on Rudy's side. Hopefully we can get him very, very soon.
Might have to put my best Dutch accent on and try and impersonate him. And no, I won't do that. I won't do that. I do apologise. While we wait for him, we could interview MX Chicken, so we don't waste much time. He's going to
Absolutely.
try and rejoin. So Chicken getting a third place. That's a pretty outstanding result, considering that I do believe you did score 6th place, but you've now went up to your first podium. So well done on that.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Good introduction to the lead, a P6 and a P3. Got to be feeling a little bit confident on that, looking forward to the future. Personally, after seeing your performance tonight, I don't think it's going to be the last time we get to talk to you in this commentary box, of course. Making a nice little comeback in that second stint, sticking with the top three and trying to be opportunistic. You almost got the move on Rudy. I hope you don't mind me saying this. I think your pace maybe generally like a tenth of the top three, but sticking with them, you are looking very, very tidy, both in tyre management, just race management in general. A very, very good performance, and any little mistakes is sadly, Rudy, sadly for you, maybe not so sadly for Rudy, I must say, not able to make a big enough mistake, but capitalising that mistake on surface for a solid P3.
Yes, I was trying to stay out of trouble and don't get any penalties. And yes, I wasn't happy with my setup. So some struggles here and there. Wasn't really happy with the car, with my pace. But I was happy to that I could keep up in the leading group.
Definitely, really brought the battle to them at
Yes.
times throughout it, and you are always an ever-present lurking there. Really, really strong performance. Next week in Portugal, of course, a slightly different track when it comes to Australia. A proper purpose-built racing track. How do you feel about going to Portugal for next week's race?
To be honest, I hate this track. um, um, have to try doing my best again. Hopefully, another good point finish.
Absolutely, look to continue the streak. Logan, have you got anything to jump on with for MX Chicken for his P3 finish here tonight in Australia?
Yes. Did we talk about the collision between him and Rudy at turn 3? Because I had to
No, we
jump
have
away
not.
for a second. Yes. You were seemingly pushed to the very outside of turn 3 and the exit of it by Rudy. Was that something that what's the word? Something that put you off a bit?
Yes, I wasn't really happy with that move, but he was faster anyway, and it's not my intention to get into a harder fight with a collision because I wanted to don't risk anything, just keep it safe and taking this podium.
I totally understand that. Of course, Rudy has been on fire in recent weeks, not just in WOR, but many other leagues that we couldn't mention because there's a myriad of them. But yes, apart from that, very well done on your first podium in WOR Tier 1.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Chicken. I'm sure it is going to be the first of many. I suppose then, apologies, Chicken, we're going to have the jump across to another commentary channel. Not to be rude, but we're going to have the love you and leave you. But congratulations again on the night. We're going to have the go talk to the man that got P2 in track. It is, of course, Rudy. So thank you very much for joining us for a quick chat and have a wonderful evening, Chicken. I'm sure we'll see you again.
Night.
But Logan will jump across and speak to the man in P2, the sister Aston Martin, I suppose.
Yep, see you there.
Well, here we are, folks. We've managed to hopefully resolve the little technical difficulties we had there with Rudy. Hopefully, he can hear us now. So, I suppose I'll rephrase my question once again. Joined late to the session, not getting any chance to get any any qualifying practice in, sorry, but still able to make the car work, the drive work, and the strategy work with a tremendous masterclass of overtaking and just racecraft in general to make it up to a P2. You must be very happy with this performance tonight, Rudy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was an interesting one. I just finished a race before this. I didn't expect to be racing, but I saw they hadn't finished qualifying yet, so I managed to get in just in time. Just selected like the setup before like with 10 seconds to go, because otherwise the game just sends you in with the default setup and you can't change anything. So yeah, I managed to do that in time. I had 0 laps of practice at Australia at all, but yeah, I've always been confident around this track. Yeah, I could have gone for the alternate strategy, but I just wanted to start on soft to clear all the guys who I knew I had better pace than. And then yeah, I was chasing Service and Jensen down also on the first stint, already catching up to them a lot. But I wanted to pit the same lap as Service did, but I saw one of the guys went in, but I couldn't see if it was Jensen or Service. And I didn't want to take the risk of double stacking with Jensen, so yeah, I stayed out, and then the safety car came out. Still lost out to Chicken, so yeah, I had to really overtake him again, and then catch back up to Jensen and Surface. But yeah, almost get a move done on Jensen at one point, but yeah, final few laps I made a little bit too much mistakes, so I couldn't really challenge Jensen at the end. But yeah, to be in the fight for the win after starting P12 is of course, yeah, really really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Starting all the way back there with no practice and not much in the way of setting, a tremendous drive from yourself, and what a battle it was. I know Logan will definitely agree with this. What a battle
Yes.
it was to sit and watch.
It was a fantastic battle. Went right to the bitter end as well. A bit of a kerfuffle between Jensen and Surface meant that you were actually thrown into the end of the race as well. Rudy, you could have took them, but guess it didn't turn out in the end. But you must be still alright with second place. But of course, Chicken, you had a collision with McChicken in the end of the race, and it was at turn 3, and you seem to have pushed him to the edge of the track. What happened there?
Yeah, I made a big mistake into the penultimate corner. He got past me, but I was low on wings. I was trying to go for the move, then went down the inside, and yeah, hit the curb, got a little bit of understeer, and then I pushed him to the edge of the track. Yeah, I think he was still one wheel on the track, but yeah, I do very much agree that it was definitely on the limit, if not over it. So yeah, we'll see what the stewards say. I wasn't trying to push him off the track or anything. It was just a bit of understeer kicking in.
Alright.
Yeah, it wasn't what I was trying to, but yeah, happened. Yeah, we'll see what the stewards say if he decides to report it. But yeah, happy with the result anyway. And yeah, apologies to him for that.
Well, at least we got it all cleared up in the end, but you should go and I think we're running out of time here. I think you should go enjoy your second place. Your performances, by the way, have been fantastic so far. You won in, I believe it was PSGL, of course. You're technically leading the championship. There's a bit of a complex issue about the standings. A couple of drivers promoted, including Cameron Dowds and I think it's Mitchell as well. But yes, fantastic form so far, and look out, everyone. Rudy is going to be coming for everyone in season 13. I think it's a bit late for season 12 in terms of the title, but you still prove yourself to the world as much as you can, because, of course, there's always room for everyone here on WOR. And going into the next game, it's going to be interesting to see how what the status quo is going to be in terms of the top drivers in Season 13. I think it's going to be a crucial time for the league, especially for PlayStation, where there's a myriad of talent out there. So very well done on your performances recently, not just tonight, but over the past few weeks. It's been fantastic watching you drive, Rudy.
Yeah, cheers.
Absolutely, Logan. I can only really echo what you're saying. I've had the pleasure of commentating over this man for a number of months now, and the improvement in the racecraft, it builds every week, and it just gets better and better, and it's absolute pleasure. So congratulations on your P2 tonight. But like you said, I think we've pretty much pushed the clock fairly far on tonight. So a quick
Starving.
little. You're telling me, mate. But it's been an absolute pleasure of a Grand Prix to commentate over, I must say.
Yes, indeed. It has been. It's been fantastic. Of course, this is going to be a bit of a sad goodbye to the old Albert Park layout. Unless there's a reprieve by Codemasters, it's going to be replaced by a new layout, especially in Sector 2, turns 9 and 10, turn 6, and I believe turn... No, it's going to be the new turn 12, because we removed turn 10, the old one. It's just flat out. The new turn 12 is going to be, once turn 13 is going to get reprofiled as well. So it's going to be a bit of a new challenge for next season. If it's there next season, if it gets chosen. Of course, there's going to be, Miami and as well, perhaps. Maybe Portimao might be still in the game. I've heard rumors it might be, but we'll not delve into that yet. It's a bit of a complex issue because we always plead for Codemasters to have certain tracks in the game, even if they're not in the calendar. I think we should have stopped doing that before we'd be called a bunch of whingers, if you can say that, like the FIA have been saying about their drivers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Next season, sure to be a fascinating one. They have a lot of reprofiled tracks, like you say, including Abu Dhabi, including Australia, and include Spain, and some new tracks, like you're saying, Miami and Las Vegas. But before we get too ahead of ourselves and start dreaming.
Sorry to interrupt, not next game. That'll be the game after the next one, which will be in a few seasons if we get there, if WR is still running. Because I know some historic leagues like TSRL. Actually, I don't think we're about to mention it because it's Actually, no, they've done some collaboration in the past with me as well. TSRL doesn't exist, but I think we'll be staying on for a while. We are the top league on Xbox right now, but of course we have PlayStation and PC. We don't forget about those leagues, of course. We are all inclusive here on WR. When are we going to have crossplay, though?
Maybe one day, of course. That'll be the glory of League Racing. I quite look forward to that. Getting the mix of talents from all divisions. But I suppose we get too ahead of ourselves. Season 12 will round itself off over the next 5 weeks. Next week sees us venture to Portugal. You can, of course, join myself, CRL Freefall, and, of course, Logan. But Scott and Logan sounds a little bit better, like we said earlier on. Logan, first time commentating with you, my friend. It's been an amazing experience, and I've got to say, having a Scottish co-commentator is something I never thought I would ever have. We're such a small group of a country, and then such a small group of interest in F1. It's a lovely little thing to see. So it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to have you in the comms box beside you tonight, my friend.
Thank you. It has been waning off though, because of course it's been a while since Paul Di Resto's been in the sport, but we don't talk about him. Or David Coulthard. We only talk about Jim Clark and Jackie Stewart. But apart from that, yeah, a lot of Scottish F1 fans here, especially if you're Ferrari. There's a big Ferrari fan base here. I'm part of it. Sorry to admit it, but that's just when it's Formula One, not in WR. I'm very impartial. I have to be very impartial, of course, as a commentator. But yes, Freefall, it's been an absolute pleasure. I feel much more confident now that I have a permanent commentator with an actual OBS, because my computer can't run OBS. It's too much for the hardware to cope with. Yeah, it's an iMac, what you expect.
See, I have the opposite option. It's not so much the computer or the hardware, it's more the hardware inside me operating it sometimes that slips us up. So if there is any mistakes, like we had a few, I believe 1 or 2 tonight, please give me a little bit of time of it. Hopefully we'll get up to speed very soon, but I think it's about time we sign off. Thank you once again, Logan, for joining me. Thank you for all the drivers. Thank you for all the drivers for racing in tonight's race. Everybody at WR, and of course everybody down in the chat. And all those sitting at home, not talking too much in the chat, just sitting viewing away. We couldn't, of course, do this without you. I have been CRL Freefall, also known as Scott. We will see you next Friday at 8 PM BST for round number 11 of Season 12 of WR. here on the PlayStation Tier 1 platform. Thank you all, have a very good evening, and of course have a very good Easter bank holiday.
Only too much chocolate.